morning, everybody. My name is LJ. I'm founder and CEO of Cohort, and we're helping solve college math, making it easier. So there's a huge problem with college math. Universities are struggling to keep students in or dropping out. There's up to 45% failure and withdrawal rate. So if you have 30 students, 12 to 15 are going to drop out. Another big problem is that instructors are struggling to know who needs help in the classroom because the students are too afraid to ask for help even though they want help. The solution to that is Cohort. Cohort is an assessment platform containing real-time collections of student work that's displayed live in the classroom anonymously, so that those teachers can instantly know how their students are doing, student proficiency. They can get the students back on track with real-time feedback, all without the students feeling worried about being chewed out or seeing as dumb in the classroom. And this is a thing that just creates a natural integration to the classroom, allowing teachers to have students be, reason both abstractly and quantitatively, and just focus on the details. So we're focusing on college math instructors, typically level 100 and below. So you're talking about calculus, algebra, developmental mathematics. We're looking for teachers who are doing combinations of lectures and interactive engagement, so exercises, and also flipped learning and labs. Another big thing that we think we can apply to is allowing this to be used for quizzes so that teachers don't have to manually scan quizzes on the iPads. So I estimate that the upstate or the United States undergraduate student market is around 40 to 62 million. The majority of those students are going to be taking at least one math course per semester at 130 million. And if I can get this into 500 instructors teaching an average of 6 different sections a year, I believe that we can generate 1.3 million a year. We'll talk about that. So right now, we have 2 pilots scheduled in Clemson, 1 pilot scheduled at Anderson University. In the spring, we had 2 paid pilots. I'm actually going to be teaming with another one later this week, signing letters of intent and others in the works. So there's a lot of different players in this space. You have Poll Everywhere, Kahoot, Alex, a lot of big players. But Cohort's the only one that, especially in the university side, allows teachers to see exactly where their students are going wrong so they can get them back on track without them having to be worried about So our pricing model is a SaaS dual model. We are going to do $14 per course per student. That's only going to cost us about $1.50 per student per semester. To begin with, we're going to be doing a tier system model for instructors, so $40 per instructor or per instructor until we gain credibility so that we can transfer over to that 15-quarter course for the students. We have piloting options available, whether it be 3 to 4 weeks or 6 months, however, whatever makes the teacher comfortable. We're going to have a desktop web app for instructors and either a web application or a mobile web app for students. So our goal for the first year is to work with 25 instructors, just get that data, make sure that scientifically this is actually helping students, and then by year 3, generating $3.5 million in revenue, or $1.3 million per year per revenue. And why us? Well, my name is LJ Gordon. I'm the founder and CEO. This is actually my second EdTech startup. I did electric after I did it at America. I'm a recovering student, and I'm looking to work with different tech developers in the upstate, and then find tech people in the upstate that we can recruit in-house and help them. Anyway, I'm looking for $200K to take the MVP to a fully fledged product so that it can be used for college calculus and algebra, and also research Cohort's impact on grades, DFWI rates, teaching effectiveness, and just student confidence overall. Anyways, I would definitely love to chat. Feel free to reach out to me at my email, my phone number, at LinkedIn, and I'd definitely love to take your questions. Thank you.
All right, tough love. What's good, what's bad? Tell them. So, VCs he's going to be talking to aren't going to be as kind, so go for it.
I'll give one thing that I love, and that is your early traction. You've got users already.
Yes.
That's a big deal. And I think you highlighted it, but you could even make a big deal out of that.
I need to add another place.
I think that's fantastic. And then a minor thing is, I don't know if you can use a quillmount.co email here at the end for you instead of your Gmail account. That would bump the professional email for you.
Some testimonials from students or teachers would be fabulous. Like someone that you could actually put in there so that they can talk about in, just a short blurb of how well it's helped them. It, hits people in the heart, so that's it's good to have.
Yeah, but
I think you've refined your model really, really well. I still think you could probably, I don't know, maybe this is delusional, I think you could probably get the cost of goods sold down. Like, I don't think it will actually cost you that much at scale. Probably cost you 10% now. The good news is you've got the solution, right? The problem is I don't think you're leaning into the drama of it. Like, this is a crisis. America is falling behind as it relates to math. We will never keep up because everything is tech-based and everything's math-based, and I guarantee you ChatGPT can't help you out. Something along those lines, and really resonate with the fact that you are the solution to a crisis that we have tried to fix and failed at for the last 40 years.
Sounds like the accounting profession.
I really like that.
Yes,
Zoom out.
Yep.
yeah.
It's America versus the world, and the world's kicking our ass. I mean, like that. I mean, that's
Hey, with your check, you can help us win that fight. Selling American bonds. Oh wait, wrong.
but the thing is, like, the reason I say this is like our the college model's broken, the education system's broken. Everybody loves to say that. Nobody loves. There is no quick and easy solution. You're saying I can't solve it all right now, but I can start with our kids and give you a better future. And who doesn't want to pay for that? $15 for a better, a tech literate future. Sign me up.
And Andrew, I mean, I did ATVL session 10 last Friday. One of the things was like I was underselling this. Another interesting thing is that I'm still trying to actually figure out that revenue model. Like we talked about over Circle, like, why not just do 15 per student? So I actually talked with Columbus State actually on Friday. They were the first person I kind of pitched it. And what she said is like, it used to be that you could do 15 per student, but they're trying to limit that cost or that upfront cost for the students. So I'm waiting to hear back from her so I can actually schedule a meeting to get a better understanding of that sales process.
Yeah.
There's so many different there's so many different approaches that each university looks at, whether it be again for the whole group or just per its teacher. I'm still trying to figure that out, and I wish it was just 15%.
I think what you're gonna, just because this is near and dear to my heart, solely because I bought so many stupid online subscriptions that I never used and actually would have used yours, is like, I'll give you a great example. I was a junior, I took intro to econ, I took it, I already knew everything, but they forced me to take it, and I mean, it's the same as high school, and yet I literally spent, I think it was $300. And so like, that's where part of it, you kind of have to be an asshole and be selective and say like, we're only going to work with, the colleges that can force their students to pay for it as you grow. Because the thing is, $15 is nothing. If I saw I saw like somebody would ask me to buy a $15 paperback book, and I literally would jump for joy because I was so excited to not spend $400 on a textbook I wasn't going to.
Or go to Chegg or use McGraw-Hill Connect. I know you use that stupid thing.
And by the way, that stupid thing cost me $200.
Yeah.
And so I guess what I'm saying is that you're not only making your life better, but you're also significantly cheaper. And so like, I think it's the same thing we run into where you just have to say, if you're not willing to work with me this year, we'd love to partner with you in the future and then find the schools that are, because I guarantee you they're schools.
Yeah, I think that as long as I can, again, continue that, get that data with the teacher at Anderson, the teachers, get that ready with Clemson, Columbus State, once I get back from her. I think once we get that data, it just makes it a lot easier because it's that reputability,
Yeah. Well, the last thing, sorry, I just get fired up over this stuff. Keep that storytelling that I was talking about, the crisis and everything. When you talk about, anonymity for students, the importance of that. You're not conveying it for us, like for somebody, I know so many of my peers that were saying, I'll sit in quantum mechanics, and I'm going, I'm not volunteering this answer because I could literally be 10 million times off of the right answer. And so that is, you're saying not only is the education system broken because of all of these, you're giving a reason. You're saying because students are afraid to speak up because they've been told they're wrong so many times, except for when it matters.
Yes, but again, it depends on who you're talking to. Whether it's, because it's funny that you look at it this way as a student, but a guy named Michael Mino at ATVL, he's at the Platform Career. I pitched it again with that emphasis on students are afraid, students are terrified. I was one of those students. He's like, why'd you change your pitch? You should be pitching, saying the issues of the teacher, not a big part of it. So for me, again, it does come back to that balancing act of getting that urgency of the student, but also making sure that I hone in that real urgency for the administrators, the teachers themselves.
I mean, ultimately, it just depends on which business model. I think you said a lot. And
Yeah.
You kind of have to commit one way or the other to that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's again something that I need to hone in on and get more data on. So any other questions?
All righty.
Good feedback.
All right. I want to welcome Oz. Oz has come down from Raleigh. He's one of our great mentors that we've got. Oz, you want to stand up, talk about yourself real quick, give everybody the 411 on you.
All right, appreciate everybody having me today. I've been up in NC for, I guess, 45 plus years now. In the startup space for about that time, just launching startup number 7. Been through this journey a number of times. Never gets easier. In fact, it gets almost harder every time because the world keeps changing. All new stuff to learn. Barriers to entry keep going down, hence competition keeps going up. The challenges you guys are facing here, like pricing and all these things, it never ends, right? So it's like, how do you keep figuring out, every company's been different, so every kind of model is different, every kind of customer base is different, so you're kind of constantly tweaking stuff just to make each one work, and there's no guarantees for any of it. So it's, you gotta really just like that journey enough to keep doing it again, bashing it against the wall, and try again, and again, and again, and again.
See what you guys have to look forward to?
So now you currently are working on a startup. What is the
The current one is called Future Proof. It's the AI CFO for startups. So it's specifically designed for SaaS and e-commerce founders. To basically manage your books automatically, help you do forecasting, planning, cap table, data room, all in one platform. So, having done this a number of times, I see the problem still hasn't been solved for founders, and let's say we're going to go solve something that's kind of near and dear to my heart, help founders be more successful. Most people are solving the problems they're looking to solve, and finance is not one of those, so kind of take that off your plate, so that makes your life easier, and it's designed for kind of SaaS companies. So that's the focus.
So Oz is on Circle, so all of you should reach out. So I'm sure he would love to talk to you and kind of demo what he's doing. All right.
Happy to answer any questions while I'm here. And
Yep.
help
So he'll be down for you here for 2 days?
Yeah, I'm here because I'm here for the event the next 2 days as well.
Okay, so, you guys are here local, so reach out to him. I'm sure he would love to grab a cup of coffee, go out to lunch, dinner, so on and so forth.
I'm here. So.
All right, you're up, sir.
And you guys have to do this meeting in live, is that?
You want to take slides or you?
I'll give you guys.
I was gonna say, wow, that's really your.
How about I go sit in your seat?
Yeah.
Be you.
I mean, they will see.
He's gonna be speaking, is yours alone? You're gonna be speaking, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can, you're saying, yeah, I can do
Yeah.
There we go.
Let's try it. also should have that.
Return question.
It's there.
Or we can switch it off.
No, that's the audio.
It might be using this as the second screen. That's not recognizing this here.
Well, no, that is supposed to be.
To mirror this.
Yeah. Flip it around.
Preferably, I'm not just this school's paper, it's just the cell classes are going, there's not a specific time, because it's the cell class.
Want to use this? Yeah, try using like that. See if this is-
Yeah. I think if you have
Departments, and then we go to it's just like, for example, they want their budgets considered.
All right, well, we're waiting for them to do that. A couple of things now that you guys are rolling out, making the pitches, like LJ and Tom have, you know, and even Andrew, to going and getting your first set of customers. One of the things that you've got to start putting into your plan and thinking that's not so much in your slide deck, but you need to start thinking about operational wise, is customer service. Shit's gonna go sideways, people are gonna get pissed off, people are going to want the sun, moon, and stars for the $15 a month that they're giving you or whatever. You have to have basically what I call your SOP as far as, okay, how am I gonna deal with an unhappy customer, okay? The more that you have a procedure in place, even if it's just you handling and dealing with the customer service, the better off that whole experience is going to be for your customer. Even if you wind up refunding their money, okay, you want them to walk out of that experience going, you know what, I tried it, it didn't work, but man, those people were great at helping me and refunding my money. You want that positive loop to come out of it where they're not afraid to recommend to somebody else. It's one of those things where, well, it might have not have worked for me, but maybe it works for you because you sound like you got the same type of problems that I had. Either you were either doing too much or too little and it wasn't the quote unquote right fit for them. We talk you out. So make sure that you're doing that, okay? And go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, I have a question after.
Yep. So from that, basically have it and say, okay, you know, almost as a, like a flow chart that says, okay, you know, whether it's onboarding somebody so they don't understand, okay, understanding what they're supposed to get for the money that they're getting. If they upgrade their plan as far as how it gets upgraded and what it does to be able to do that upgrade. There we go. We're up.
I did that, but there,
Are you plugged into the? Yeah.
maybe that worked now.
So it's just the lock, this just doesn't like. Is it conflicted, is this plugged into the, or is that just the output?
That's just.
That's just how, yeah.
So that's one of the things you want to do is prevent a negative loop and having the positive loop. So, question?
Yeah, so you know, and Andrew can attest to this, McGraw-Hill Connect and Alex is not the most reliable thing, and they have a lot of issues with that, just getting it to work. And then we look at the Ford Pinto, of course, is like, it should have been a common sense thing to fix that issue before they even put the car out. Why do companies like that establish, continue to make that mistake where they do not put customer service forward?
So a lot of, in my opinion, a lot of people, and I can talk about this from the tax titans perspective and even with Secondhand Geek, is there's so much emphasis on getting the client, okay? I want to have a go-to-market strategy. I want to measure the acquisition cost of acquiring the client. You have all of these things that kind of push people forward to bring the customer to you, okay? And I like to use this analogy, it's kind of like dating, okay? It's like, I want to pick out the perfect restaurant, I want to get the right food, am I wearing the right clothes, do I got the right cologne on, so on and so forth, because I get that person to want to be with me for that date, so that then hopefully there's a second date, and a third date. And then what happens with everybody who is in a relationship? You start taking shit for granted, okay? And, you know, you can go into the Stephen Covey, the 7 habits of, you know, people, effective people, then they go into what the 8th habit is, which is sharpening the saw. So it's one of those, once I get the customer, how am I going to maintain keeping them using the system, make it so that they don't kind of just go, oh, okay, well, this is no longer a use case for me. And you don't want to just get revenue because they forget to delete your app. You actually want to have some value you'd be giving them so that they wind up continuing to do it every year, every quarter, whatever your sales cycle is for whatever app that you're building, okay? I'm going to use the accounting industry as a perfect example. So in the accounting industry, they're dealing with an issue right now where it's like, okay, there is a limited number of accounting professionals. There is so many people that want to use, you know, accounting professionals. One of the big things that is considered compliance is doing people's taxes. Everybody in here either does or should pay taxes, okay? So you file your return at the end of the year. But in the accounting profession, doing taxes is considered washing the dishes. Everybody wants to be the chef to make a 4-star meal. Those in the accounting profession are your higher valued services. So what happens is the people that are just getting the taxes done, the ones that don't have other services that they're paying for, are kind of pushed to the back, and for lack of a better term, neglected or not wanted, okay? But the accounting profession has a problem with dealing with that. So from the aspect they don't want to fire those people because they don't want that negative loop. They don't want to be termed the assholes in town that fired me because that person may play golf with somebody who actually has a multi-million-dollar firm that they would like to have as a client, okay? So that's that delicate balance of how you do that. You know, in your aspect, it's like, okay, you're trying to, your bottom of your TAM is, of course, the actual student, the one that you guys are talking about that's afraid to make mistakes, be able to do stuff, and do those things. Ideally, the highest level customer you'd like to get is the college that's paying for the enterprise to make everything happen, okay? So how do you make that connection between the two to prove to the enterprise person that if they use your service, that they're taking care of all of the people that they want as their customers? Because ultimately, the college or university is getting money through the tuition for that person there. So kind of making that connection and hoping to do that might be another kind of way for you to possibly look at making that connection as to why a college or university might want to use your program. You know, I joke around, I teach fencing. One of the things I tell parents is they may not make an NCAA team, but 60% of kids drop out of college because they don't feel that they fit in, they don't have a community to belong to, they feel ostracized, so they do bad, and then they go back home and they can hang out with people. So from my aspect, it's like one of those things where I sit there and I go, okay, well, at least if they're fencing, when they get on the campus, they'll be part of a fencing club and have a network of people who they identify with. So them staying and graduating and doing the whole 4 years or 5 years has got a much higher percentage of being able to finish. Yes?
Just one other thing I'd say to that is it's a ready, fire, aim mindset. And it's one that you need as a founder, because if you spend too much time just aiming, you'll just kill too much time. So you ship and you figure out, okay, I'll deal with the support stuff later. I'll deal with whatever happens iteratively. Just get it out there.
Yeah.
So that's the right approach from a startup standpoint, because otherwise you spend too much time on the aim and never fire.
Yeah, and I've been very thankful to actually take that approach and see success with it.
As long as you're paying attention to calibrate and aim afterwards.
Yeah, and being transparent about why I did that or where I thought,
Okay.
yeah.
And in the military, we have what's called fire for effect. I'm sitting there, if I'm working with forward observers, like Oz was saying, I'm throwing my first round out there to see where it kind of lands based on where my enemy is. And then I'm trying to zero it in based on their giving collaboration or coordinates in order to be able to do that. Once I feel that, my forward observer has got the right position and my artillery shells are landing where it is, then I'm good, then I'm fired for full effect. Then that's ideally in the tech world where you then scale, okay? The whole idea is okay, I get 4 or 5 people, they're customers, they're happy, or they were unhappy and I solved the problem. I've solved the problem, I have everything buttoned all up, great, theoretically, hopefully everybody in this room gets to this point. That's where you're going for your seed funding, your Series A, to go, look, not only have I identified the customer, I've gotten the customer, I have troubleshooted every customer that I've got so I get to keep them, so my churn and stuff is really, really low. I've reduced my customer acquisition cost so that the ratio is at a scalable level. I now just need fuel to make this thing take off, okay? So,
And that's why there's 2 types of money. There's mistake money and scale money.
I've been going through the mistake money for the last 3 years like nobody's business, like a drunken sailor. So, I'm in the I hope I solved the problem phase now. So, all right. Without further ado, Andrew.
Yeah. I'm Andrew Farrell, and this is Locker Room Coaching Reimagined. So the question is, why reimagine coaching? This is, an age-old industry, and they've been doing it well for decades, if not millennia. So the real answer is, well, what do you think your coach has been focused on this week? You're probably thinking the game plan and everything else, but this is the reality. This is what they're focusing on. It's spreadsheets, it's receipts, it's administrative burden, it's paperwork, it's endless parent emails. It's a problem. And it's a problem not because it has to be a problem. It's a problem because coaches are doing it in the 1980s fashion that they came up in. And unfortunately, the world just doesn't work that way. It's time for a change. It's time for Locker Room. So Locker Room presents an all-in-one solution. We're a web app that you can access from any platform, whether it's your phone, your tablet, or your computer. We're here to save you time, to cut costs, and to empower coaches. Now you're asking how? We do that by centralizing every aspect of your program into one digital dashboard. When you log in for the first time to your school computer as a coach in the morning, you want to understand not only usually what you have to do as a parent, as a full-time teacher, and as a part-time coach, but also what's going to derail your program this morning. Well, the issue is you left your notebook at home, you're calling your wife, and you're begging for her to come drop it off before the game time starts. No longer, now you just use the game day checklist. You know exactly what has to be done, exactly when it has to be done, and you don't have to be the one to do it, you just have to know that it gets done. You also want to start leveraging your players and your budget more effectively, and now you have the ability to track the data to enable that. Gone are the days of hoping and praying that things are working out. We're here to make sure they do. So I'm Andrew Farrell, I'm the full-time founder of Locker Room, and my 2 co-founders, Joey Iannetta and Micah Roberson, are both Furman alum, just like myself, and we have partnered to deliver this meaningful solution for just $1,500 a year. Now you've got access before the season, during the season, after the season, to all of the game-changing information and organization that we're providing. And here's the best part, folks. I didn't even mention the statistics and performance. This is the game changer. No longer are you waiting until tomorrow to get what went right and what went wrong. Just as we're presenting all of the information you need to know to optimize for your game day, we also track and input all of the information during your games. No more notebooks, no more paper stat sheets, and no more, again, waiting for tomorrow's huddle report. That's how we save you $10,000 a year and 10 hours a week. Because on average, coaches are spending 10 to 20 hours on administrative tasks that they shouldn't be doing, in addition to being a teacher and a parent and a coach. But also, a third of programs nationwide are spending 20% more than they budget each year. That's a problem, and that's a $10,000 problem on average for high school basketball. So why us? What do we do, right? Well, Locker Room is uniquely positioned to centralize that information such that these coaches with app fatigue aren't checking email, Slack, and then the 3 different communication platforms that they're reaching out to parents with. Now they have one source of truth, and they can use their mind to do what they do best, which is to coach. And the market's waiting. This is a $5 billion market. We aim to, in the next 3 years, have $5 million captured of that market through 5 different sports and 200 schools nationwide. And we're starting right now with basketball teams across the state and across the Southeast. We're aiming for 20 teams at $15,000. And what you have to understand is that our competitors are trying, but no one's centralizing this market in the way that we can. And we can do it all. So folks, it's happening. Locker Room is live right now. We've already got schools signed up to use us for this upcoming season. My only ask for you is to tell every single basketball coach in your life about it. Thank you, I'm Andrew, and this is Locker Room.
All right, tough love.
You gotta be mean and loud.
Mean and loud. If you're not mean, you're doing it wrong. So come on.
So it's pretty good. I can tell you've been doing it on the sales beat for a while, because a lot of that is the sales pitch, but I actually wouldn't change too much. The sales pitch is good enough, you can do that for fundraising too. The little team slide you had, I would actually say just move that to the back and then talk about the team a little more. You had a why us slide, but you actually didn't tell us who us is.
Yeah. So this is this slide deck is like 6 months old, I need to update it. But yes, you're exactly right.
Yeah, I would just move that stuff to the back, and then you can talk a little bit more about the team at the end.
Yeah.
That's also the thing where if you run out of time because it's a 3 or 5 or 7 minute pitch, you can actually just be like, here's us, and then not have to say anything.
Yeah, I know, I like that a lot. That's helpful.
Otherwise, I mean, pretty good.
Yeah, you mentioned the statistics was the game changer.
And I didn't show it. Yeah, because I haven't updated the slide deck.
I was gonna say the same thing. That's like your "but wait, there's more" thing, which would be good to show it.
Yeah.
And I think I would put it after budgeting. I think you put it in the middle on the slide.
Yeah.
Put
Put
that
that
at
at
your
the end.
you're like, but wait, there's more.
I like
Make
it.
that the third thing.
Yeah, because I think that the main thing that we're trying to encapsulate here is that we are doing it all, but the stats are the sexy part. That's what everybody likes to talk about. I just don't want to be belittled to being the stats out, because that's not how.
How are you getting the stats in?
What's that? It's a live stats tracker. I just didn't like it, so I will show that. But essentially, it's just the interface on our platform, and then even the product slide that I showed it's old and bad. So that will improve too. So I think what I'll do is I'll show you that basically it'll be an animated screen where it'll be just 2 clicks away and show somebody logging a player action to kind of.
If you're looking for the tough love portion of this,
Please.
probably won't happen in a pitch competition, to be honest, but if someone were thinking about writing you a check, one of the big questions they would ask is, okay, you built a dashboard. What's defensible about this?
Yeah.
Anybody can just go build a dashboard.
Yeah.
Especially if they see you making money, somebody who already has more money could just be like, well, I'll just crush that guy.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that I didn't do well, but that was kind of the point of this, and I need to I'm going to change this slide. Before, the whole idea is that we're the ones that are centralizing all of the information. I kept going back to that in my mind. That's not really the moat is the ease of use for coaches, because every single one of these started off trying to, like big teams started off with scheduling, added communication. Sports Engine added rosters, Sports Plus added communication. So no one's doing it well. They're just, I'm a fundraising platform, and hey, by the way, you can message your players. And so it's not purpose-built.
Based on that, maybe show it in a graph, X's and check marks as to what the others are doing and how you meet all of those benchmarks.
LJ's presentation that he gave.
Yes.
That's a nice thing. One of the things that a lot of people have said for me with Tax Titans is like, okay, there's H&R Block, there's TurboTax. What is your platform do that doesn't just give somebody a quick snapshot that okay, you've done that, customer discovery and competition discovery.
Yeah. No, this is from Paladin Pitch, and the other 3 had that chart, and they refused to have what they had. But now that I'm this, I will have it.
I would say 3 quick things, kind of going off of them. I used to have that 101 chart, and then I moved away from that. Another thing I would say is add some pictures and graphics of those companies, and then add pictures of players, of coaches, just to get that that humanistic side.
So what I did change, because it was all football related and we're basketball focused right now, is usually the start is a little bit more emotional in the sense that it's Friday night, the lights are bright, you're getting excited. What do you think the coach is thinking about? Well, it's actually not the game, it's worried about the loss receipt, like that style, and I think that helps more with the emotional aspect.
Yeah,
You're
that's
absolutely right.
right.
I need to write that up.
And then I was wondering as the pitch went along, is how much time does this actually save the teacher or the coach per week? And
Yeah.
you
Now
go
that
to
slide
it.
was really good. You're talking about the $10,000, 10 hours.
Yeah.
That was a very.
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
slide, yeah.
I would like to see that quicker, and then I would also love to see some testimonials or what's currently like, how much your current testers are actually saving right now.
Yeah.
That would be
not,
really
because
big.
it starts with content.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and
it's-
that's the hard part, is like the chicken and the egg, because it is, all of the information is really only valuable when we have a whole season view at it.
I feel that.
And no, I know you do. So yeah, so that's the hard part. And obviously, you know, in this industry, you know, retention is everything. So
Yeah.
that's what I know.
So your logo, LKRM.
My logo?
What?
I always call it my watermark. It is my logo for now, but we need a real logo.
Well, but what I thought, and I meant to tell you this weeks ago, is for the first several weeks, I thought your name was LKRM.
Everyone does. That's why that's why I took
I
this
wonder
Yeah.
if there's a way to like lowercase the KRM, or I don't know, I don't know how to solve it, but something to make it clear that
You need a logo.
Yeah,
Locker.
you need a
Just
logo.
need the
I'm
logo.
just gonna tell you that it's in 3 different fonts in the same deck. Like in this one deck, you've got 3
Well,
different
yeah.
fonts of LKR.
Yeah, I mean, that's it too, but like, I want to know that your name is Locker.
Yeah, yeah. No, I completely agree. That's something we've really struggled with, because I think that, you know, obviously with a certain amount of saturation, we have it ready, but you're exactly right. And the more that we have a logo, then can phase that.
And I can tell you from personal experience, whatever you put up there as a logo, one of 2 things is gonna happen. Everybody's gonna go either I love your logo, or that's horrible and it should be this. Either way, you accomplish your goal.
Yeah.
You're either gonna have the logo that you use, or someone's gonna give you one that's better.
Yeah.
Says the man who has his logo tattooed on his arm.
Oz?
So one of the things I think people would ask is, from a defensibility standpoint, is it a feature of a competitor's product, or is it a company on its own?
Yeah, that's a great, and so that's what I've really struggled with for this style deck. Obviously, from the sales perspective, it's locker room is locker room, which like to say the company is the product right now. Realistically, that's absolutely not the case. But, you know, all of the data, and this is where it's just an old slide deck, and I don't talk about it. All of the data works on the back end such that in 2 to 3 years, we'll be able to assist with recruiting, with community features. Not even 2 to 3 years. Your community features start next year, and so. To the defensibility, it's all stickiness. That's the hard part, and I don't know if you've run into this with Fun Youth Sports, but it's that every single, obviously the defensibility mode is that they come to us and we're kind of their program builder. We're not just an app, we're not a feature tool, but the defensibility is just how long you stick around in the market. Because you look at a huddle or max preps and there's nothing unique necessarily about what they do at all. And yet 99% to 100% of high schools use them. And then the tools that are offering better solutions, you know,
So
aren't necessarily being adopted. It's just market consideration.
So if that's the case, then you just show another slide that talks about how do you get, what's your distribution general?
Yeah.
How do you actually get?
The go-to-market.
The go-to-market, that you
Yeah.
get enough that
That's
you
why I
can have
lost.
that.
No, you're exactly right. And so I think it was somebody here said, whatever, you know, you get a question about, add that as a slide. That was
Yep.
like the founder's thing. And so I think that's exactly what I need to add. That's what I'm missing is the go-to-market. Right now, actually, later today, we're still trying to figure that out. I think the solution is to go through the state level associations for basketball coaches and to get them funded. So we'll charge, our product is $1,500, just getting started. We'll go ahead and give $250 as a referral fee to that organization for each coach, and and they don't get funded. Right now, it's just if, you know, coach gives them $100 for their membership, and I think that really aligns with where we're going in terms of this is a coach's first platform, and that allows coaches to advocate for themselves. Effectively, it's like, you know, providing the union a funding source, and so hopefully that helps.
And if you had one slide that probably goes with that 10,000 hours or $10,000 is something, because I don't know anything about the space, to say the role is, you know, 12 or 15% of their life is this role.
Yeah.
But the mental real estate this takes up is 77%.
Yeah. No, that's
That
Yeah,
could basically
definitely.
kind of help position that it's a small part of what they have to do in a given week of being a parent, a teacher, and everything else. But because of how big the problem is, it occupies this much of their mental real estate.
You have a tagline that just says something like, "We help coaches focus less on spreadsheets and more on winning."
we make coaches
Something like
coaches again, and you know, as well, and it's locker room win more. The hard part for us is balancing exactly what you just talked about, where when we talk to coaches, if we go into telling them about their problems, they're going to get really pissed off. And so often, a lot of our bigger industry players are either not necessarily former coaches, but they all come from this background. And so it's almost like trying to judge in an instant if the crowd knows about high school sports and knows about, you know, sports tech or doesn't, because they'll either love us or hate us, if that makes sense. And so it's like when we spend time educating as to the problem to somebody that's faced the problem or already solved the problem, they get mad for some reason. And I don't know
Well,
why.
and so one of the things from a sales perspective that, you know, Sandler, everybody talks about in sales is, you know, ask them, hey, what are your biggest top 3 problems that you have as being as a coach?
Yeah.
And then what you're hoping to get in response is one of those top 3 is what you're solving.
Yeah, no, we always map them on. It's
Yep.
just in the presentation style that's obviously, that's what.
Well, but in the presentation, you could say, as we have talked to coaches and asked them what their top 3 problems are, our problem, our solution that we're creating always comes up as one of the top.
So that's the why us is what I was supposed to say on that slide and I didn't. Is that we're not just making this problem up. This is a problem that we found after talking with 300 plus coaches across the country
Yeah.
in these different sports.
Do you have a question? I'm gonna accounting nerd out here for a
Yeah,
second.
It's okay.
Does your budgeting feature integrate with school ERPs?
Yeah, we've talked about it, not right now.
Okay.
The reason for that is that brings an insane regulatory nightmare.
Yeah, yeah.
So what we're treating it as is it is the ability for it's just another repository for those receipts to live.
Okay.
So your bookkeeper can log in and you're not taking the physical, there's no transfer
Yeah.
anymore, now they just log
Yeah.
in and take the information.
Okay.
Direct integration we would love. Hopefully I sell this company before I have to worry about that, because
Okay.
that sounds like a nightmare.
I was just gonna say, if
I have
that's
a
a
solution
feature-
for that, but that's a
Yeah.
whole other thing. It's called Smart Bulb.
We've got some connection, but I was gonna say, like, if that is a possibility, but if you have a solution for it.
Just
So-
somebody on the Zoom? Yeah.
So Lewis said you stated that the information being uploaded in real time. How? You have people watching the games or entering data?
Yeah, do you have any proprietary data or anything like that? Anything that
Yeah, yeah.
someone else could not get?
I mean, so that's what, when I have the live stats tracker as a slide, that's all of the coaches are inputting the information, like the assistant coaches inputting the information themselves to track it for themselves. And so the accuracy of that compared to, you know, AI video analysis, which is somebody in Southeast Asia going and clicking it for you, is obviously much, much higher when you have the coach themselves basically so it's verified stats. So that's our moat, is data. And just, it's all about market penetration and saturation to get to the point where that data actually matters and it's not 7 teams in South Carolina.
Well, is this giving the coaches more work though?
What's that? No, it's replacing their paper stat sheet. And so now instead of having to do, like,
So it's the thing they already do.
they're
but
already
it's
doing
faster.
it. They're just doing tally marks and now they're just tapping instead. And now they're not having to do the arithmetic in the corner of the margins. We do it all for them. And we, like, as a coach, you couldn't do, for example, second chance, the algorithmic stuff to say, you know, that was points off turnover and stuff like that without really thinking critically about it, because it's bam, bam, bam. We can do that because we know who's got the ball, what the possession looks like, and so basically we can just track it at a slightly deeper level. Nothing that they can't do with game film, but again, game film processes the next day, and we're helping them at halftime and timeouts before they've already lost the game.
I would say a couple things, one quickly with the logo there, but is there, so the process for getting those stats into the system would be that either the coaches or the assistant coaches are entering it, right?
Yeah, through our platform. It's just buttons.
Is there a way that can kind of be integrated into, I guess, whoever's in the press box or something?
So, yes. We looked at that. I thought people would get more fired up about it. The broadcasters like it. High school broadcasting right now is almost exclusively done through NFHS, which is effectively one of our competitors because of a bunch of recent acquisitions. Did just connect with their chairman and then their CEO separately, so hopefully eventually we'll be able to partner on some stuff and we'll get bought and they'll do it. Ultimately, the hard part is to prove that out. Until we partner directly with them, which is tricky again. We would have to do local news, and local news hates stats. I've talked to several different sports directors. The one in South Carolina said, stats bring a broadcast down. I just want to have game film. They go out, they film 2 or 3 highlights, and they move on, which is weird, but it's just, that's where we're kind of meeting the coaches, where the coaches care to elevate, and the people that actually broadcast, like in NFHS would, but when it's on the local news, for some reason they don't, which is odd.
Jeff, there was one other question. Are there different dashboard views for coaches and students?
Great question. So our platform right now, as I mentioned, the company is Coaches First. This platform is only designed for high school coaches, and the reason for that is this is also a player development tool for them internally. So obviously having access, there's no sort of like roles-based access control, and we want to keep this as simple as possible. And when you start worrying about what user roles you want to ascribe to your assistant coaches, your bookkeepers, or anything like that, it just goes over the coach's head. So everything's 2 clicks away, and it's all specifically designed for the coaches. Eventually we'll roll out a mobile app for players and but realistically for parents, and then obviously schools take away phones now, so we'll probably roll out a digital dashboard for students later on, more practice.
Two things. One thing is when Blake asked you around top 3 problems for coaches is how many coaches think holistically about what they do. Is this part of coaching for them, or is this there's coaching what I do, and then there's all this administrative stuff that I have to do? And do they think, if you were to ask them that question, do they think about both at the same time? Or do they think, well, if you ask me about coaching, I've got one set of problems. You're talking about administratively, everything else I have to do. I have a bunch of other set of problems.
So that's where I was nervous, to be honest. I found that the market has really, we found a really good sweet spot because coaches, being a coach is an identity that transcends across, and I'm sure you can relate to this, across everything. So I literally never even have to know their name. Hey coach, good morning coach, how are you doing coach? And the beauty of that is that all of their problems are in being a coach. And so if I can say, I'm going to make you a coach again, after I just explained all the secretary and travel agent duties that they're doing, then they recognize it. So it's kind of a mixed bag there. Everything falls under the coach umbrella and identity, but when you start talking about problems, coaches are really quick to point out how other people can improve, just like any of us though. They think, I've got this figured out, especially when the average coach has been doing this for years and decades. And so they go, my program's working, and then that's where the whole like 10,000 hours, $10,000, or 10 hours, $10,000 is we can help you win more. And that's where we've really, this slide deck was really focused on saving time. The whole company is positioned around helping them win more, because that's where they see incrementally, if I can win 10% more, they're jumping for joy. If I say I can save you 10 hours a week, they literally don't blink, which is crazy, but it's just.
So there's almost an angle of this is the coach's coach, because every good coach needs a coach.
Yeah. Yes, that's something we have to tread really lightly on, because coaches don't like to be, we don't want to, ultimately when we run this platform for enough years, we could be a better AI coach than they could ever be, right? But we don't want coaches to see that, and we don't want to do that, because it takes the magic out of it for them. That
It's
we
hard to
have
sell
to be a
someone their
tool.
own replacement.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, without going that far. But
Well, I mean, to what Oz was saying, it's kind of like almost having a tagline of the coach's coach.
Yeah, because if they get the value of coaching, then they should get that, okay, they too can be coached to be better.
Yeah. No, yes, but their personalities, for some reason,
It's-
we're not the coach's coach. Yeah, we're the assistant. We're your
There's a
best
feedback loop right there.
Exactly. We're Blake's best assistant coach. We are not Blake's coach. If that makes
Didn't
sense.
know this was going to turn into a roast play session. Okay, all right. here we go.
How much time you got?
So an angle maybe is anybody that's using this, as you say basketball season is live, for every person, every one of your customers that wins and the other team that loses, go approach the losing team and say, hey, by the way,
Oh.
this may be.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, absolutely. It's like, you want to win more? Here's how. Well, the good news is we don't necessarily even have to be in the gym, so I'll be in 7 a.m. practice tomorrow, which is exciting. But we don't necessarily even have to be in the gym, because when coaches see other coaches on an iPad, they always ask, how did you have that stat? How did you get that? So they talk to each other, because once they meet them, they don't care. So that's where I say it's like, it really is a saturation and a penetration thing. It's like, once you're in their ear, and you just have to continue to do a good job. And it really, they sell the thing. I've had more coaches have sold other coaches for my initial customers than I have. And I don't know, that says a lot about me, obviously, but also, a lot about the industry.
So to try to be really succinct, you got enough stuff here that you probably, this is about fundraising, not about how your business works.
Yeah.
But you got enough stuff here, you can probably get people interested in the space to pull out their checkbook. The hurdle you have to get over to get them to actually write a number is, you talked a lot about, you're describing largely a winner take all space.
Yeah.
And you've talked a lot about what you're doing that other people aren't doing. You
Yeah.
haven't really said anything about what you're doing that other people can't do.
Yeah.
Or that your team is, uniquely situated to do better than anyone else.
Yeah. So that's something that I think in positioning, this step was all around how we're going to expand to other sports. I think we're not. We're going to hunker down for the next year to 2 years, specifically on basketball, because people love to say, oh, well, football's the moneymaker. Participation rates in basketball, there's more players and more teams for basketball across the country than any other sport at the high school level. And so that's where it's not, going back to the whole Mark Andreessen thing, where it's obviously, and this is the hard part with software, until we have a certain threshold, there really is nothing that we can stop somebody from going on building, because we can build much deeper tech than this, and I want to. The issue is coaches aren't ready for it. And we can't, the deep tech has to be embedded after they're already using us, or they won't sign the check for it. The other thing is deep tech exists for colleges because colleges are spending $30,000 a year. If I charge them more than $3,500 a year, I'm disrupting their entire athletic program. And so that's where it is a little bit of a balance, because there's more defensibility that we could claim. But I think ultimately how we're gonna sell this to investors, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, is ultimately just that the market is ripe for disruption, and that the market is almost pulling the product out of us, rather than us rather than us kind of elbowing people out of the way, if that makes any sense.
Okay, so you're thinking you're going to win more because you're doing what coaches tell you they want rather than trying to tell coaches what they need.
That, but we're also, again, we're not focused on, all of the existing competitors right now are very much entrenched in the school, in serving the schools that they currently serve, so they can't really improve a ton, because then they jeopardize their current contracts. And so what they do is they go after unique feature groups. Everyone's going after the app style instead of the holistic program builder, which makes it harder because it's a slower sales cycle for us to say, are you willing to basically change the way that you operate this program or enhance the way that you operate this program? But once they do, the stickiness goes, effectively, I guess that's the argument, is that once we have their stats for over a year and their budget that we can roll over till next year, and every single event that we can roll over till next year, it's just an exponentially easier process for the coach.
That's so tough to be like, look, once we have all these things that are super hard to get, we win.
Well, and that's why, ultimately,
I've been playing that game for the last 3 years.
Ultimately, the goal is we're trying our damnedest not to have to fundraise until next spring, where we'll have the high school and be able to say essentially that not only, but with real numbers, effectively what we did for them. And that's also why we're staying specifically in basketball, is so that we can demonstrate significant market share, rather than saying, and then say we can replicate this across other sports once we have the expertise in-house to do that, rather than to say we've got 3 high schools doing basketball here, we've got 12 high schools doing soccer here, 5 in football, and hey, by the way, we can introduce different user groups and they're going to love us. We're going to go full stack with the parent, with the student, with the college coach and the high school coach long before we get outside of basketball, and that's going to kind of create that.
Okay, let's have LJ do the last one, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, quick question regarding, if the teams win more, obviously there's going to be more eyes on the team, hopefully with recruiters. How important is getting recruiters into those basketball games and trying to get, I guess, a coach to get Brownell to see your player, get them recruited for NIL? How important is that, and is that something that you've looked at?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's where we're going. That's why we track all of our stats at the player level, so everything is attributable to an individual, such that you as a parent or even the student athlete, if they're old enough, can start marketing themselves, and we're just the connector, right? Because again, college coaches are looking for really pure stats and not guesswork. So, for example, it really matters if they had 30 points in a junior varsity versus a varsity game. And in max preps, that can get lost. And so that's where we're going. It's hard because I don't necessarily want to sell this as a recruiting platform, because that's not where we are now. And so like in the future iterations and stuff, that's something that obviously will kind of where we're going. But we've got to solve for high school coaches now, because that's what happens is everyone loves to pitch, oh, if we're going to get this into schools and then we're going to switch away from coaches, and then the coaches are like, what the fuck, and then they move back.
All right. Thanks, sir. Good job.
Yeah.
All right, so we got 8 minutes left. One of the topics I wanted to talk today is you guys are going through your syllabus. Okay, so you guys are a week out. You're quote unquote B graduates, much like graduates in college or high school. Then it's going out and get a job. For you guys, it's getting out and make your app work and start serving your customers. In doing that, one of the things to serve your customers, it's either going to be you. Hopefully, you're able to recruit a team, whether it's you and another co-founder or you and 3 other people, or you start working with possible virtual assistants or fractional CMOs, CFOs, fractional people. And regardless, you are going to have some form of team, okay? I gave a session at the Build, Grow, Learn conference the other day. One of the things that resonates with a lot of you, okay, and I don't know everybody's background, is whether or not you know how to lead a team and what it means to lead a team, okay? My slide that I did, as I showed, the best planning organization on this planet is the U.S. military, okay? We go there, we get it done, we get it on time, and the reason is, my other slide that I gave up is if our plans doesn't work, I showed Arlington's cemetery. If my shit goes wrong, people come home with body bags. I don't want that, okay? So from your aspect, if shit goes wrong, your company goes out of business. You spend somebody's money. You look at a bank account and go, shit, I'm out of business, okay? So as you go forward, and this will be in the community room for everybody to go and get, is you want to have an acronym that we use in the military called RACI, R-A-C-I, okay? For everything that you're doing with your team and your company, first thing R, you want to make somebody responsible for it, for executing that task, okay? Then you want to make them accountable for each individual task. Somebody is accountable for it. Now, I add another A to that that's not currently in there, which is authority. You cannot give somebody the responsibility to get shit done unless you are giving the authority to kick somebody in the ass and make it happen, okay? So make sure when you're setting up your team and you're handing out responsibilities and you're making people accountable, that you're also giving them the authority. Now, authority can be something as simple as you have the authorization to spend $100 or more. You have the authorization to email somebody and get them on the platform. You have the authorization and the accountability to do X, Y, and Z. But make sure that's spelled out, okay? Because whether or not you realize the people that you're working for, unless that is spelled out, they are not going to take risks, okay? They are going to only stay in the parameter of what you've given them or what they perceive is their barriers, and they're going to stay in that little fence, okay? Then the C stands for consultative, people that you're asking for input for, okay? Your sources of information so that you as the leader of your organization is able to act and react, okay? In the military, we kind of call it shoot, move, and communicate. For you, it's like, okay, how am I pivoting? What am I doing? What is it based on? It's that information like Andrew was talking about, all those stats that are coming in, okay? And then understand who is supposed to be getting the information from you that you're informing, okay? Who is relying on all of the data that you're collecting so they can effectively do their job on the team. If you don't have that set up, then you got people basically wandering in the wilderness trying to find fruit or sustenance in order to do their job. If you're not controlling and you don't have preset times as to what you're giving them, there's the old saying, garbage data in, garbage data out. You want to control that narrative as much as possible, okay? But I'm going to go, and it'll be in the community. We have in the military what's called an op order. which basically says, I have a mission, it's X, Y, and Z. For every one of you, the mission is, hey, I want to take my company, I want it to be profitable, I want it to grow. You know, the big joke is everybody's got a great idea, but how do I execute? Okay? The military is phenomenal on developing a plan that has execution from, hey, I need to be halfway across the globe with $10 million worth of equipment and 10,000 people to take over a country, and do the planning all the way back to, I'm getting up this morning, what pair of clothes am I wearing, and how much food and water am I packing with me, and everything in between. Okay? So in that, as long as you're able to map out everything from your company, it forces you to think. Okay? Everybody knows the acronym, don't assume. Okay? Trust me when I say a fully written out op order doesn't allow you to assume anything. Okay? It allows you, it basically makes you have everything from how many MREs I have, how many liters of water I'm taking, how many Band-Aids do I got, how many rounds of ammo, and everything in between. Okay? All right, does anybody have any questions on that?
What was the C?
The C is consultative. Basically, who's supposed to be giving you information? Who is receiving information out in the field, out in the market, okay, in your aspect, dealing with the customers that's giving you feedback so you know whether or not things are going good and or bad. So in your instance at Synergy Mill, it's like, hey, you know, how are the members feeling on a monthly basis? You know, did I come in? Did I use the lathe? Did I use the CNC machine? Did I do some 3D printing? Hey, I would like to have this type of equipment that I saw on some YouTube channel. You want to be getting that information so that you know, hey, I'm keeping the latest and greatest tool in Synergy Mill. All right. Has anybody got anything else? All right, the op orders will be in there. Next week, we'll be setting up the time for last class. Graduation is Thursday. If you want to talk about the United thing.
We're hosting graduation at United Community Bank's headquarters. Very kind of them to offer
Very
that
schwanky
to us.
place.
It's
Look
really
over
nice.
this. Yep.
Hope to have a good turnout. Tell your family and friends. Invite them. Make sure to sign up on the Luma link that's posted in Circle. You will be getting an email about that probably tomorrow as well. Take some of the pitch feedback you got today and implement it by next Thursday, because you're going to give your pitch there.
Right. The pitches are going to be there. We're going to be coordinating with VFX. The idea is that as you guys are doing your pitch at the graduation, that it is also being quote unquote live streamed with folks on VFX. And then who knows?
There will be investors in the room. So
Yes, there will be investors in the room next week.
be ready.
Well,
Yeah.
well, you said that it was 100,000 uncapped safe for the winner, right?
I win! No.
Well, the mentors are coming up from Atlanta and places like that, and a lot of the mentors.
Yes, so all the mentors that are coming up from Atlanta are part of Hustle Fund.
And they are people who are actively writing checks. I actually just watched them write checks last week.
I joked around when I was down there on Saturday. For those of you that don't know, me and Lee went to Montana, and I was joking around at getting 20 acres of land, and I was going to do a reset retreat where people could be off the grid and have a place to spend a week. By the end of that lunch that we were at, I had about 9 people waiting to write me $5,000 checks to be able to buy the shipping home containers that I built, put on the lot, to be able to Airbnb it. And they had already figured out the ROI and what they would charge. I was like, okay, so yes, this is a very motivated group of people for writing checks to people who have great ideas. So, all right, thank you to the sponsors and the mentors that were here today. Those of you who are going for the next couple of days to the Next Gen Match Day conference thing.
Starts right now, right?
Yeah, it starts right now. Talk about the program, okay? Those of you who did not hear what I said about Tom, I would say anybody that gave their presentation today, you are, for lack of a better term, launch VC ready. Go ahead and submit your deck for them to review, for Jason to kick you in the nards, punch you in the teeth, give you all the hard love. you know, word is we've got somebody on the inside that can say, hey, you should take a look at these folks. But from that aspect, you know, get the nose out now. You know, prior to this program, there was no connection to Silicon Valley and getting funding. You guys are the proof that that no longer is the case, okay? So the folks in Columbia, we are now looking at 30 startups, and they don't start for another couple of weeks, and they're still taking applications. So they're at 30 startups already, and as many people as they can pack in the Boyd Innovation Center will go on the train. So, all right, thanks everybody. Have a great week.